So this is a pre-recorded VOD for a low GM Genji. I've already taken a skim through this code, so the Lijiang game, as well as a little bit of Oasis too. And as you can see, I'm starting on this round because there's a lot of goods on this map, but also very clear splits on what's bad. And it basically becomes like a good microcosm, which is a fancy word for representation of what I think the biggest mistakes are with your play, and what you can do about it practically in your next few games. Obviously I'm going to give like a short, overview or brief rundown of what I'm expecting to see from a, higher level Genji, what I would ideally like to see. Again, we're going to be talking about this a lot, and this is going to be foreshadowing some of the events to come. First and most obviously is Deflect visual aggro. This is going to happen a lot. In terms of, I'll bring this up a lot basically, where you'll be deflecting and nothing. You'll be deflecting a Mei, you'll be deflecting a Winston, you'll be deflecting, this game a Winston and a Mei, right? But you'll also just be deflecting stuff that doesn't even directly aggress onto you. Like, you can kind of keep your deflect without you needing to get punished for it. A lot of unnecessary deflects, to put it short. And the reason for that is because you're not paying attention to the specific aggression, or hero aggression that goes through your deflect. So again, that's Winston, that's Mei, that's Echo, right? That changes how you do your matchup. Again, actually, in my Faro Echo video, I literally talked about the Echo versus Genji matchup and why so many tier 3 Genji players fuck up against Echo because they treat it like any other hero. Well, they'll dash onto the Echo, and if they don't force out the flight, they just die immediately. Well, if they don't get that one-shot combo off, they just die immediately. And the key thing there in that matchup, and this will apply to Winston and Mei here as well, is that you need to be walking up a lot more without having to use deflect. You need to have good pathing to actually reach an Echo, to reach a Mei, to reach a Winston, and then force them out without needing to use deflect or dash, for that matter of fact. And that's actually what we see here in the retake later when you play over here, and you don't use any cooldowns, and you force out the Winston and Mei very easily. Of course, we'll get to that fight later, and some stuff that could be improved about that, but that's a good general sort of glimpse or advance over it. Another thing I'm looking for is, how do I say it? Escapable. Escape options is like a really basic way you can put it. But in other words, I don't want you getting forced out unnecessarily. It's kind of the key thing. I don't want you to put yourself in positions to where you need to get a 50-50 coin flip to be able to make a play work, right? And it's a similar thing that's leading on to the last idea, but there's a lot of the time where, in Oasis, you're playing into a Moira player, and you would dash onto them, and they'd fade away. And for the play to work, you need to get the kill. I'll coin flip for the kill, right? Against Mei and Winston, a lot of times as well, you're coin flipping the dash kill onto the Mei and getting stuck if you're not getting the kill, basically. You're not getting the reset kill. You're not forcing her to use cryo. And again, if in those situations, especially against beam characters, you're going to be putting yourself at a disadvantage. Other stuff too, we'll talk about uptime as well on angles. A lot of the time, again, you're going to be unnecessarily leaving the angle for basically no reason. We're going to be talking a lot about mid-fight rotations, which again applies to this as well, which also links into like awareness in the fight, because with Genji specifically, because you can wall climb anywhere, you can look at all the angles on the map. And by doing that, you can look at, okay, here in this sort of fight, okay, maybe I'm dashing out because I need to leave, right? But then I can wall climb up and look for a different angle in the mid-fight. Or maybe my front line's getting pushed really, really hard. My Ramatra, my Diva, they're getting punished by the enemy Winston. He's getting really, really punished for that right now. Do I need to leave this angle? Can I actually trade off the aggro that my tank's taking? That's another mid-fight rotation thing that's really important. And that's something that we see, I think, on the start of the second round that hopefully we'll talk about and go through. But we'll go through this map here first, because again, I think a lot of those talking points that we'll see. And yeah, okay. Yeah. So angle is fine, obviously TP's fine, whatever, right? Swings to the left is fine. See Kiriko getting cleared, fine. So this is so far so good. Clearing Kiriko, all good here. Again, all good. And notice, by the way, how again you take this angle without needing to use dash here. And again, this is a little bit of a contrast to what we're about to see, but also what we saw on Oasis as well, what we're going to see on Oasis, where you can often just commit dash. Like you could have committed dash into that Kiriko, and she could have faded away. or you could have done it into a Moira and she would have faded away, and it would not have mattered. And especially against Moira, you would have put yourself in a really bad position because obviously you can't deflect the Moira beam. So yeah, glad you didn't use dash or deflect there. And again, get a nice kill, right? So far, so good. The real predicament here is this following dash, right? Where you dash into a Mei, and obviously we're gonna get traded out for this. You're not actually gonna die for this, right? But you should get traded out for this. And again, it's kind of like, for this play to work, you need to coin flip, getting a good dash into the Mei, getting a good escape, forcing cryo, and you need to force cryo by hitting the fan shuriken one-shot thing. That's a bet that you don't really need to be taking here, because the Kiriko's already dead. And it's coming at the risk of your own life for this, right? Not to mention, you're clearly not aware of the Winston playing point as well. You can obviously just chase you and punish you, and threaten the trade, basically. So this is like, again, it's a very, very, very common problem, even at high-level play, by plenty of Genji players, because especially in a 5v4, they'll just commit dash, turn their brain off, and then they'll get traded out themselves by making stupid plays like this. Now, obviously, I know why you're doing this, because your Ram's frozen, but there's no better alternative here. There's not really anything else you can do here that can trade off aggro from your Ramattra whilst keeping yourself safe, right? I get why you're doing this. Again, you want to relieve aggro off your Ramattra because he's frozen right now and he's low HP. I get that. You can't really do that right now in a way that's safe to your own character. Obviously, like if you were, maybe this section of the map opened up a little bit and there was a little bit of cover here, right? Maybe I could see you, you know, dash, or not dash, sorry, but like wall climb over here or like walk over here and then shuriken the Mei. Maybe if this person was playing Orisa and there was a little bit of cover, you could dash to over here, right? Then dashing here, like through this wall, maybe if this geometry existed, and shurikening the Mei could make a little bit more sense, right? But yeah, there's no real safe option here or safe dash play that makes this really worth it, based on their comp and based on the geometry of the map. So yeah, and of course, because it's control center, there's not really much wall climb micro you can do either. This dash is really risky. And I know you live for this. Right? You can see how scary and you can see how rough this is, where there's two beam characters, another Juno coming to chase you as well, and sure, you are creating a ton of space for your team here, but you should have died the second you dashed onto the Mei there, and the Winston should have jumped your ass, stats basically, the second he saw that. So yeah, I guess against a better team, you'll die for this, effectively. I don't even know how your surgeon gets the cast, but you know, that's what it is. You get down to like, what, 50 HP there, like, really not great. And the Mei misses the wall too. You know, the Mei misses the wall. So that fight, again, what could have happened there is you die, these guys respawn, and they retake 5v4, right? And then it becomes really tough for your team. And then you barely get any percentage from the point there. Okay. See here. Okay. Angle is fine, right? And again, immediately, look at, remember how I mentioned uptime at the beginning? Look at the uptime on that angle, right? It's a good angle, right? You're forcing out Winston, but do you need to leave here? Not really, right? Winston's already used bubble. You can keep distance, you can fan him away, that's all good. Like, you don't need to you don't need to be moving here, essentially, right? And again, if these guys want to clear you out, they need to essentially walk onto you, and they're wasting their time, because you can just walk away, climb up here, and you're fine as well. So, again, you want to be, this is what I like to call, again, should have mentioned this at the beginning, but aggressive but safe positioning. Where here, put HP, both cooldowns, and if they want to clear you, and this is a really important thing about aggressive but safe positioning, if they want to clear you, this Winston, this Mei, they need to put themselves in danger to actually do that, to do so, right? The Winston needs to walk out of his bubble and give Sojin a lot of space, right? If these guys want to clear you, your Sojin and your Ramattra are going to actually get value here down main and can punish the rotate. So this is the really important thing here. But you give up the space here for no reason, right? Literally no reason. Why are we walking forward here? Who are we threatening a trade on, right? The backline are miles away. You can't threaten a trade onto these guys. They're too far away. Mei's too big of a target, too healthy of a target for you to actually threaten a trade on, right? She's too bulky. What are we doing here? You know, like, why aren't we just playing back over here, where we've got more distance, where we can keep the angle and still threaten the trade, right? Or threaten the backline if they start to walk up. And really not great. And this is something that you do a lot. You do this a lot. On Oasis, you do this a lot. On less of Lijiang actually. On this part of the map, you actually don't do this that much. But on the first part, you do this a lot. I might even skip the first fight to keep it the theme throwing, because the theme going. Yeah, I will skip the first fight actually. 824. Remember this, because it's something that you do a lot. We can look at the first fight here. And I remember this vividly because it was first fight. And right, we walk on top right. Really great angle, right? Like great angle against the Orisa. Very easy to force her out. She can't really do much about it. But the uptime is so low, right? Why are we in kissing distance of an Orisa? And if this was infected, swing left, javelin you into a wall, and turn this from a great angle to an instant kill for the Orisa, right? Really not great stuff. And this was really, really important for Genji players back in the day. I say back in the day, right? But back when Orisa was more meta, was making sure you couldn't have been punished by javelin here. So again, like I guess like the solution or the fix to this is distance and cover, right? So in other words, you can, if I zoom out here, look at how much distance you have to the right side, right? So there's two things you can do here. Either wall climb here and keep the angle here, play the cover, and you just haven't had to use dash, right? Or we wall climb this, shoot the Orisa. If she looks at us, if she again visual aggro, which is referring to if they're looking at you. If she looks at you, then you deflect out here. And if they really want to chase you, then you dash out and you're fine, and you get the mega, right? And you've created all the space for your diva to walk up. So that's the really important thing, I suppose. Again, it's the uptime on the angle, because this is a great angle, right? Don't get me wrong. But again, I don't know why you're leaving here so soon. I don't know why you're leaving here so soon. It's because the threat of the Orisa is scary. But again, you can minimize that threat by how you play this angle. But yeah, I wanted to go over that because I think it's thematically linear or consistent with again a pattern or an issue that I think you have in your play. And now, I mean, you win this fight, I think, right? Because Orisa's naded, bad fucking fortify, dog shit spear spin. She spear spins you when you've already left the angle anyways. And honestly, she should be javeling you, actually. A really bad micro by her ends. She ends up getting blown up. Wall climb's good, right? And then she ends up getting blown up, right? But yeah, really not great Orisa micro there. But you can see the idea. You can see the thinking there in terms of, again, hey, I can actually keep this angle here. And if they want to come and chase me, well, this Orisa's going to be between a rock and a hard place, right? Because it's going to give the diva space, or it's going to give me a lot of space. So that's a really, really important thing. Now, linking back into that idea about escape options too, again, I'm wanting to make this holistic as possible, right? Again, the reason why there's something you should always be thinking about as Genji is where do I leave to, right? And again, the wall climb here, deflect out. This window becomes your escape path, right? You dash over here is your escape path. And again, the more you start thinking about this, either pre-fight, right before you get into a fight, in customs, in VODs, in again how you approach fights, in scrims, right? Whatever the case may be, the more naturally this will come to you, or the more, I guess, you know, automatic it'll come to you. But yeah. Okay, we'll go back to control sensor. 824. Okay. Alright. Oh yeah. So, again, now we've dashed out, we've given up the angle, we're down someone already here, and this is what I meant by, I think it was like regaining awareness in the mid-fight, where, hey, we've got a trigger to actually look for a different angle here, where I can actually wall climb above this, whatever the fuck this is called, and get an angle here, and this is really important, because now you can see everything, right? You've got an angle into the entire fight, you can threaten trades between people who come through here, people who walk through White Room, and again, I suppose if you're still dogshit scared, about the Winston, I actually personally wouldn't be, because he won't be able to punish you that hardly here, I think, at least in my opinion. Again, your Juno can still help you. Again, if you walk him up to here and he jumps you, then you can drop down, deflect out, deflect the May shots, diacles, whatever. Your Juno can help you. You get many right. You're still relatively safe. Is kind of my point, right? But yeah, that's a missed opportunity or a missed time to take a different angle here. If you're really that scared, you can even just do it a little bit further away. This is also fine as well, because you're further away from the Winston. But yeah, hell, even now your Raj is walking in, you can even go left side here, and now you can start threatening the trade, right? May's now half HP, a lot more killable. You can wall climb around it. Also, you can play this corner here, shuriken the enemy May, force cryo. Again, you don't want to be committing dash necessarily unless you can confirm the kill, because again, if you miss the dash opportunity or you miss the you fuck up the dash, then she will just kill you. But yeah. Okay. And notice how we've got no angle. We're deflecting a fucking Juno heart, right? And yeah, now it's not great. Yeah. And also another thing I like saying as well, I say this to low level players, right? But whenever you're stacking main, you're doing less. You're doing less. You're doing less damage, but you're taking more damage yourself, right? And that's what we're seeing here. Where you're 49 HP, you're doing nothing, and you're still again putting yourself at a fair amount of danger. You're looking for my fucking water. But yeah. Okay. Look at this fight. Yeah, this is the retake. This is really nice. I'm really glad you did this. I don't know why Genji players just never do this. An alternative to this as well, by the way, if you're playing into like a Ramatra or a comp that's a lot more brawlier, and this becomes harder to do. So like let's say again in high level play, they'll put like a Ramatra on this corner, maybe a Mei here as well, and then they'll put like a Lucio here to sort of defend this sort of left side, and it becomes really hard for you to contest your angle. There's two options that you have: either go the opposite side and ignore the Mei and run through point, or go deeper and run through point. Either one's fine, and again, your goal here would be to force point. In case you couldn't, again, take this angle on choke. So I wanted to bring that up there because that might apply to your own ranked games. But yeah, obviously this is very good. 3 kills a free kill, right? We'll take it. And this is a really, really, really nice angle. Like, this is probably the best play that you've done out of what I've seen, right? This is the epitome of your character here. And notice the uptime is actually good for once, right? Because why is that, right? Well, we've got cover. We have distance from the Mei and the Winston. They have to look behind. We're not taking any visual aggro because they're not looking at us, right? There's tons of reason why this is amazing. And also this wall as well blocks any visual aggro you might have been taking from the Sojourn if she was still alive, or the Juno as well. So really really top stuff here. My only complaint is you could have done a little bit of wall climb micro here, where you could have actually instead here wall climb like this, right, above the Winston, and then you can keep fanning your shurikens at him. If he walks away, you keep the angle. If he keeps chasing you, then you dash out, and then that allows your team to walk. So a little bit of min-maxing there with, again, your uptime and the angle about how long you can stay there for. If I use the term wall climb micro, that's what I'm referring to. It's stuff like this that increase your uptime and makes it harder for you to be killed. Obviously, against specific matchups, against characters that can stun you, so Cassidy and Narissa, this bit becomes harder to do, but against characters that have limited range, and have to use mobility to come and chase you, then of course it's something that you can think about a little bit more. But yeah, apart from that, it's stuff. Okay, dash out's fine. Dash not to your Briggs, that's okay. Right, this is good. Falling with your Briggs, fine. And no matter how aggressive you walk here, all good. Force of the Winston, nice. And this is not good as well, right? So again, for this play to work, right, and this is how I would like thinking about it, right? For this play to work, you need to kill the Kiri, right? Or the Kiri you need to get a dash reset here somehow, right? Or the Brig needs to come with you. So if you're playing in a team environment, again, I don't know how this might have been, right? Again, I'm not gonna call this a feed because I don't know the exact context to this. Again, maybe you're cheering the Brig, right? And then this could have been reasonable. But the point of it being is that for this to work, you need to get the kill. That's not how the character should be played, right? And notice how we're seeing as well. This is very, very similar to the first fight that we saw on this point too, where you need to regain awareness now. You need to be aware that if you dash, this guy will come and chase you. And his TTK is about 3.5 seconds, right? You've got 3 seconds to live because Deflect's fucking useless, right? So, again, that's the feed here, is this dash. Because now you need to get the kill, right? And now, you get to 60 HP, 50, 47. Let's slow this down, actually. How low do you get? 43, 40. You peak to 40 HP, and you get saved by your Brig pack, so you, again, give instant healing. So, if it wasn't for your Brig there, you get cooked, right? Or, if the Kiri hit one more kunai, you get cooked, right? And that's the important thing. This is the second time we've seen this error, where you do really well, really well first fight, you take an angle without using your cooldowns, really good stuff, and then you feed, and then you make it almost meaningless. And I guess the reason why you keep doing this is because this is the second time you haven't been punished for this. First fight, over here, you didn't get punished by the Winston Mei, so you keep doing it. Here, you're not dying, you're not getting punished by the Winston Kiriko, so you keep doing it, right? And again, it's really impactful to, when you're playing against better players, right? If this is J. Karu, probably not the best Winston player I could have thought of that right now. But the point of being is that, again, in coordinated environments, in principle, you'll die. Really not great. Again, unless, again, your Brig's, like, walking with you, right? But again, she had to turn around to come and save you, which is, again, not great. Okay. Okay, of course, it's fine. So now with your Brig's with you, of course, you can keep rolling with your Brig. Brig is just, she will just save you, so there's no good place there. Nice. Okay. Okay. I guess as well, I guess a qualm or a question you might have as well there is like, is dashing the Kiriko fine if this tank isn't Winston? Or if this tank is like fucking Orisa, does this play become reasonable? I guess the big thing there for me is, can you reasonably live? Right? Can you get out of this fine? And again, so I think that might be fine. Let's say you could dash here, deflect out, right, and then play here. That's fine into Orisa because she can't do anything about that, right? But Winston can. So again, it's going to be tank specific, it's going to be matchup specific, right? Again, on Oasis, we saw you were playing against Moira, and you had a little bit of troubles there into her too, because again, you don't kind of encounter Moira that often. But yeah, I think that is something that's important to raise, is that in some cases, dashing there's fine, because the whole principle of me pointing that out is, hey, I don't want this to be a coin flip. And the reason the reason why that was a coin flip was because you're playing against a Winston, right? It's important to understand or note that. Okay. Of course we get, yeah, I think this is becomes fairly messy and evolved. Right, Rally, Blizzard, Kitsune, OC, right? Things go on. I will say as well, one thing I really like about your plays is, or your play, your blades aren't, I haven't got to worry about your blades. Blades have been pretty good. Ultimate is fine, looking forward to fine. I think later is okay. You kind of need to win this fight before you give them any more percentage. They just put raid themselves. You can go into the Kiriko, right? I'm okay with this, right? So I've got no real qualms. Yeah. You end up getting to the blade, right? Maybe 3 there had you not missed a strike, right? But the blades, I really haven't got much to say or little to complain about, right? It's mainly your neutral setup that I've got stuff to talk about. Okay. See here. Angle is fine. Okay. Dashing up there is fine, right? And the reason why I say that is because now, like, you can still take a good angle here anyways. You've got time, right? You're just poking really, really early on, right? It's like how people will just, like, toss a damage orb in the pre-fight and they'll get it back in the mid-fight. So that's fine, right? You can play here, right? You can play it back here. I'm fine with that. But I think here, again, we're going to encounter an issue. I'm going to lower the game sound volume a little bit. But now we're going to encounter an issue of, again, uptime, right? Why are we leaving the angle so early here, right? I think this is the fight. Right, yeah, this is it, right? And if you watch this back in full speed, without saying anything, it looks like this looks fine, right? Oh, hey, I'm playing with my brig, right? I'm not giving up much, right? But notice what the mistake. I guess mistake is one way you can call this, right? But notice what you do here, right? Well, again, the only way this dash works is if you hit the Fountain Shurikens, right? I guess this one is less egregious because your Ram is with you and your Brig's with you, so I guess I can maybe live with this. Again, I think had you landed the dash damage and you played the cover a little bit more, I would be okay with this. And had your march been a bit deeper, I would have been more okay with this, right? If there's other characters that can juggle the aggro off of you and makes this less of a coin flip, then I'm okay with it, right? So it's not the worst thing we've ever seen in the world. But if I back it up a little bit, right, so back over here, right, when you back up to the bottom right briefly, right, look at this, look at this beautiful angle, right? Look at this, right? They need to waste their fucking time to come and force you out. Let's say hypothetically, put the camera here. Let's say you stayed here. Ooh, look at that person, right? Why am I DCing? Ooh, that's scary. But if I just play more, right? Ooh, look at these people, right? Now you can start threatening the trade a lot more. And if you think about a cycle about how we would want to use our cooldowns, well, hey, we can dash through here, pick up the mini on the way, maybe deflect out, right? That depends on when the mate's playing. Or you can dash through here, keep this angle, fan, deflect out, just like this, right? If you need to, and then pick up the mega, that's fine as well. Or you could just stand here, fan, or just walk, fan, deflect out, dash to, like, I don't know, maybe over here, right? There's many plays or many ways or many permutations of how you can play this. Again, I think the best thing one to do is allow them to walk up a little bit, fan as much as you can, like fan, up until the point where they start looking at you. Then either that's when you need to be, when they start looking at you, that's when you start thinking about your escape path, right? That's when you're like, hey, if they start looking at me, now I need to be dashing through here and start escaping. If they're looking at me, well, hey, and then you start deflecting here and take the high grounds, right? That's when you start thinking about your escape path, is when they start looking at you, right? That's the whole point of visual aggro. That visual aggro's referencing the eyes of the enemy team. Obviously here, in this camera position, they're not looking here, right? And that's what you want to be abusing. You want to be abusing that by walking forward when they're not looking at you. But again, you can see how much more opportunity there is by playing here or keeping this angle compared to, again, coin flipping. Coin flipping is a bit harsh here, right? But again, going onto a Mei here, who is not the best target in the world. Let's be real. But yeah. Okay. And also notice as well, by the way, had you not forced out Cryo, you would have been in big trouble. Because Mei doesn't get Cryo forced out. She beams you in Frost. You've committed dash. Deflect does nothing against Mei. You would have been in big trouble, right? So that's something that's, again, important to note. And important to understand against Mei and Echo. Sombra too. And Moira. Basically, characters that can punish you with Deflect. Okay. Alright. Let's see here. Okay. This becomes more reasonable. Right? Why is marking the Mayhem more reasonable, right? Well, my backline can see me. I've got cover to use. I've got both my cooldowns, right? This becomes a lot more reasonable and a lot less of a coin flip. So this becomes more reasonable. Look how safe this is. Right? Dash is fine there. I don't care about dash. You're gonna kill the Mei. That's all fine. Maybe not kill the Mei now because your Ram's dead. Right? But you're gonna be safe is the point. Okay. Again, notice wall climb micro. Right? Let's back it up here. Right? Why are we doing ring around the fucking Rosie here? Right? Why are we why are we doing this? Right? Just stand in this corner here, shoot the Mei. If you get jumped by Winston, wall climb out and you're okay, right? That's wall climb micro. And again, you're not playing against a comp that can CC you. So yeah, that's really important to understand that. I guess it links back into uptime, right? About, again, hey, I can keep my angle here, and I'm safe to do so. Because obviously now, like, you haven't got dash on that's your escape right now. Your only escape is Deflect, which is fucking useless against that front line. So that's why wall climb micro becomes really important here. Yeah, it's not a blunder, right? It's not a mistake, right? It's not like that's not like chess where you blunder your queen, but it's a missed opportunity. Okay. I mean, this is mainly reset, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not sure if you're gonna. Yeah, there's probably not too much to talk about here. That's fine. I mean, yeah, you can just dodge here because you're down 10%. Again, I would have preferred you to swing a little bit wider to the left here after the Winston forced out. Or hell, have time to walk around here. I know Cap's, like, again, points being very close to being capped right now, so I'm being a little bit more lenient here. And your Ram's also dead too, so your Ram died earlier, so you didn't exactly know where he was. So I'm going to be a little bit more lenient there, but I think there are things, again, regaining awareness is, again, really important here. Like, the second the Winston gets jumped out and forced out, that's when you need to regain awareness about, hey, I'm going to be thinking about where I'm going to be moving to. I'm going to go wider to the right, which is the left on camera. But I'm going to go wider to the right, wider to the left, and start thinking about my angles here, so I don't have to waste my dash early. Now you're useless. Now you've got no escape path. And now, again, they popped Kutsu and OC. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of over. Okay, we'll watch a little bit earlier, or we'll watch some other parts of the map here too, of course. So the third point done there. But again, you can sometimes see why I wanted to hammer on the third point so much, because the idea about how you're coin flipping a lot of these dashes, and you're lacking the ability to regain awareness about how tradable you really are in the mid-fight. I'm trying to think about certain phases. Again, I will do a quick summary at the end about sort of condensing this down into more actionable, practical stuff. But yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, what are you going for first one? Okay, I think, yeah, everything after this. Fine, right, trading, fine. Okay, so Deflect is something that we haven't talked about that much. We kind of referred to it a little bit, as sort of the VOD as well as on a little bit against the Winston Mei specifically. But you do this a lot, generally, where, here, where the fuck are we deflecting? Right? Kiriko is wall climbing at us right now, and we're deflecting, right? There is literally zero visual aggro on our screens. The only maybe aggro is the traces to our left right now. And you do this a lot, where you'll take a little bit of aggro and not actually realize, hey, I can keep my deflect. I haven't actually got to waste it right now. And yeah, this is again a prime A case of it. Now this isn't gonna lead you to a fight loss here, right? You're gonna clean up the Kiriko here. But the point being is that this is a very representative deflect of how you use it in general. So yeah. And again, the way to fix it is look at the eyes. What the fuck are they looking at? If there's a tracer staring you down, deflecting that's fine. If there's a casty staring you down, deflecting that's fine, right? I recommend looking at I made a video on Alvacate. If you search up Kaja and Alvacate and Kevster in YouTube and skip to the last 2 minutes of that video about the rank 1 Genji Alvacate beat Kevster, right? I took about this concept a lot, and it's something that Alvacate did really, really nicely, where he would only deflect when the Sojourn Torp was looking at him, not barely anything else, because he knew he didn't need to, right? Because nobody else was looking at him. And wasting deflect like that is again really hurtful for your uptime. So yeah. Okay, we'll see the setup in next fight. A quick swig of my water. Angle here. All good. I'm okay with this angle. Again, it's dependent on where your team's playing, to be fair. But again, I don't even mind if you dash out here early, because you're just wasting the time for the enemy team, right? So this is all fine. And your Honor can see you, of course. Where's the jumps? Fine. And again, what are we deflecting? You are 180 HP. Our Winston does not do shit against deflect, or you don't care about Winston and deflect. Tracer is miles away. What are you pulse bomb in? A potential pulse bomb. Like, again, you do this a lot where the deflects just don't make sense, right? And again, you don't actually need to even dash out here because you're still good HP, right? Yana can still see you. Your Kiriko's shooting a Fuda right now at the bottom of the screen. Tracer's far away. She's not. Again, you can take the visual aggro here. You can take it. Pause. But yeah. Again, let's say you deflect here. Well, now this becomes a little bit more. Again, you can still take the visual aggro here, right? But now, if I'm the enemy Kiriko, if I'm the enemy Mei, all of a sudden, this Genji's got no deflect. I can walk up a little bit more. I can force him to dash away. And then if he's got no CDs, then I can clear the Diva, right? And then you can start taking space periodically if you're the enemy team here, right? So again, you make it easier for the Kyria mate to walk up here. Like now you have to dash out, right? But deflecting that would have been more reasonable, right? Because not only are you taking a Winston Tracer aggro, you're taking Kyria and Mei too, right? So that's really important to understand. But yeah. Okay. Here, you start taking an angle again, and again, I think this links back again into, I said again 3 times, Jesus. But this also links back into the regain awareness idea, where, hey, the trigger, or what's happened right now, what just happened is, hey, we got forced out, we have to dash away, I want to take a different angle. That's good, right? That you're thinking about that. It's just that here, it's tough to take a different angle, right? Because it's open space, right? You're obviously going to get forced out here. And look at what you're looking at, right? Your vision is directly on the Mei and potentially Kiriko here too. You don't actually care about the Winston that much here, which is not great, because again, you're out here in open space. You're almost forgetting how you can be punished here so easily. So I think taking a different angle here is more than reasonable. It's good, actually. It's what you should be doing. But the way you do it is not so great. So if I think about where you could maybe play it, right? Maybe we take a different angle on point and we look to force up the Mei, right? That could be a potential. That's probably your best course of action there, because you can swing so much wider, with a lot of cover, with a lot of distance, avoiding the Winston, and still control the coast side a lot, right? And again, you've got point control. That's the key thing to control as well. The lesser option is to swing here or here. I'd probably say here because you've got more cover to use. And again, the Winston needs to jump all the way, and then you can walk out, and then you're fine, right? Whatever. And you got more distance as well. But yeah, and then obviously you can deepen your angle a lot more, right? That's fine as well. And punish the rotate by these guys. So either one's fine there. But I guess the key thing with this idea is, if possible, use wall climb micro, right? So again, we saw on third point, where again you got forced out and you could have wall climb to the little top high ground on the point itself, right? In this case, again, you could wall climb over there. I'll wall climb over here, or just stay here. That's fine. But also making sure you're playing with cover, right? And not how an open space and distance too. You don't want to be this close against the Winston, right? But yeah. Okay. Because now, like, you got tasted by a Winston, you're strafing into his jumping path, and now you would absolutely love to just dash onto. Look at this. This is so free. This is so free. But you can't because you have HP. So it's sad. Hence why I was saying, hey, can we maybe take a different angle here? Now that I actually mention it, right? Maybe even more climbing above here. and then maybe looking to dash through. It's a bit risky, right? Because again, you're still in open space technically. But you're deviating, trading off the aggro here. But the point being here is, hey, can we sort of put myself in a position to punish the Mei, punish the rotate here? Again, I think here's still fine to do. You can still punish the Kiwi Brig while they're walking in this open space here, right? But again, because you're getting forced out early here, you're just incapable of actually punishing the Kiwi Brig here, which is really sad. Like, you can look at your poor Tracer, just alone, dude. Just alone. Can't do anything. And now they get a free rotate to point, right? And it's really important against Kiwi, not just Kiwi Brick, right, but against Broadio comps, that if you let them rotate for free, you will lose. Because now that's going to take you 10 trillion years to actually reach the backline. Or get into a position to where, hey, I can actually punish them again. Really not great. Now we're shooting a fucking bubble in Winston and getting tasered, dude. It's just... ugh, not great, right? Yeah. Now again, look at that, right? You spotted it. You threw shurikens this way. You wanted to go into these characters, right? But you're not putting yourself in a position to be able to do that, which is unfortunate. And again, let's take this a step further, right? Let's say had you saved Deflect earlier, maybe you could have deflected it in the Lion, and you could have actually kept this angle here, right? That would have been more than reasonable. I think you genuinely could have kept this angle with Deflect, right? Because the Kiwi Mei don't mean anything. You can definitely take aggro of Tracer and Winston if you've got a little bit of healing your way. You can absolutely take that aggro. So really unfortunate. Okay. Here again, because I think Warclimb is fine, but again, like this is open space again here, right? And now we've got no deflect. And we're face checking 3 different people at once, which is not particularly efficient. So you get forced out very easily. Might not great. And funnily enough, how do you like taking the time to swing around here? Oh my day, look at this angle, dudes. Like, this is an insane angle, you know? Again, this links back into regaining awareness of where you want to be playing to in the mid-fight. This links back into the term mid-fight rotations that I brought up at the start, where, hey, I can actually rotate really nice and deep here, right, onto these characters. But yeah, because you get forced out really early, and because you want to get value now, you may end up missing the opportunity. It's actually very common for Genji players, not just Genji players, but players in general, to try and prioritize value in the moments, which jeopardizes their value in the mid-fight, right? Another way I like describing it is instant versus delayed gratification, where you choose the instant gratification at the cost of, hey, I could get something bigger and better later down the line. And that's what we're seeing here, where you want to get value. I think that's a really good way of thinking about it actually now, because when you swung here, you're like, I want to get value in the Winston now. When you're swinging onto the Kiri and the Brig and the Mei, you're like, hey, I want to get value now, right? You're not really thinking about putting yourself in a really good position to where, hey, I can get a ton of value for a long period of time later into the fight. That becomes really problematic for these kind of characters. Especially Mei as well, who, again, really difficult for her to force you out if you're playing really, really wide angles. Okay. Alright. And again, why are we doing it here again? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. What is going on? Why are we double jumping there again when we're on 114 HP? And the same angle that we just got forced out from, right? Why? At the very least deepen it. At the very least deepen it, right? Because at least you're giving yourself your team time to walk up here. I mean, again, note by the way that you're walking in front of your diva, mind you. But also you're giving yourself time to regen HP, to regen cooldowns, to regen all that kind of stuff, right? And put yourself in a better position, right? So again, you're not regaining you're not thinking about, hey, I just got forced out. What is the best place for me to move? You're not thinking it at all. And it becomes really obvious because I guarantee you're definitely smart enough to know that going here is the obvious choice. So there's some kind of trigger that's going on that you're not spotting. There's some kind of visual cue or moment in time, I guess we can say, or events is another way we can say it, that you're not recognizing or you're not identifying, that forces you to consider this in the first place. And again, that event is someone getting killed, you getting forced out, so you getting a pick, right? Like we saw on the very first third point, right? That kind of stuff is really important. I think we'll talk about that at the end as well, about how when a certain event occurs, you need to be hard thinking about the next position you can take that maximizes your aggression, and maximizes your safety, maximizes your uptime, and it makes it hard and makes it risky for the enemy team to force you out from. I think that's the key thing for you at this moment in time. And of course, I guess that, you know, layers or that also comes into the second idea about the micro, right? The deflect micro and the wall climb micro too. Okay. Again, notice again, had you been here, like the mate just becomes free pickings, basically, right? Again, you could have actually punished. I think the mate was holding a little bit closer, mind you, before the Kitsune. Yeah, she was, right? Like, where's Kiri Kitsune? Kitsune voice line, right? You dash through like this. You wall climb out like this, maybe, and then try and get the mega. That's fine. That's good wall climb micro. You could also just dash through here and get the Kitsune. That's fine as well. Plenty of things you could have done there. And now we were AFK, 70 HP, missing Kitsune. Shooting a bubble. What are we doing here, bro? Wait, what value have you got on this fight so far? No, it's not. Now, look at your Tracer's having to do the work, bro. Your Tracer's having to play like Hefster to do anything, right? And now we go in the mate. And again, notice the micro here as well, mind you. It's more reasonable because Winston's already been forced out. Kiri's also Brig's already dead, and the Brig can still see you. Kiri net can still see you here. So it's more reasonable to go for this dash kill, right? But again, something to keep in mind about the micro. Okay, that should be a clean fight, hopefully. Okay, let's see next fights. Okay. I swear, if I see you get forced out again this early. Okay. Okay. Why are we dashing here, bro? Why are we dashing here? Winston can still look at you. Winston can still come at you, right? The Ana Brig, they can still see you. This is not putting yourself in an aggressive but safe position, right? And again, this thing's back into the whole, I guess, additional micro thing, right? So maybe if I zoom out here, after Winston jumps you, right? Now we start thinking about, hey, where can we potentially be playing, right? Well, we can first off hold our ground, right? It's only you can take a Winston aggro, you're getting healed by Kiri, right? Secondly, we can dash up and get Mega, another alternative, or get Mini too, that's fine as well. And we keep our angle with Tracer. Or, that's pretty much it, to be honest. But yeah, either one of those options, either staying here and getting healed by your Kiri, or dashing up to your Tracer and keeping the angle here, would have been more reasonable, because you increase your aggro, and you also, again, increase your safety as well, because you're not putting yourself here, where Winston can still turn onto you, Tracer can go onto you as well, Ana can still look at you, right? Again, it's not particularly a great dash to go to. Okay. I guess you can still aggress onto the Ana here, I suppose. Okay. Jesus, like, and again, that's why we have to deflect so early. And again, I mentioned this at the beginning, like the whole deflect micro thing, where you're not paying attention to the visual aggro that you're taking here at all, right? And actually, this is fairly aggressive but safe, right? So if I zoom out and look at your Tracer, right? If this Mei, let's say you hug this corner here, and the Tracer coming here. If this Mei wants to force you out, she needs to put herself in LOS of the Kiri, the Diva. I mean, there's plenty of those two characters there to be fair as well, right? But also the Tracer coming behind her too, just to be able to force you out, right? This is what I mean by aggressive but safe, is that if they want to come and chase you, the Mei needs to put herself in danger to do so, right? And by the way, had you still kept dash here, and not wasted it by dashing over here for basically no reason, you would feel a lot more comfortable standing here, wouldn't you? Because again, if you got forced out, let's say maybe this Mei just was so mega cracked and she hit a headshot, fine, you just dash out here or here, right? And you get the megas respectively. And then you would have been fine there, right? But because you use your dash cooldown, which again is your skip cooldown against characters that have beams, Echo, Moira, Mei, etc., right? Of course, you're scared about giving up the angle here, which means that your deflect becomes dog shit. So yeah, not great. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Better. Right, so this is good. Right, so again, I guess it becomes slightly better because I don't actually know whether what happens to the Winston. Okay, Winston jumps the point, right? Just ignores your Diva getting cleared. And because Winston is not prioritizing getting or clearing you or your Tracer out, you're actually able to trade backline to fairly effectively. Which is what your comp's better at, considering, again, you're playing a way more aggro backline and then way more aggro frontline, and they're playing a Mei and a Winston. We're not great at trading, so we're trading backlines rather. So this is pretty good here. That's just good, right? Again, wall climb micro, you can wall climb up here, right? And then if you get bashed on, that's something you can think about, right? But considering, again, your team's full diving and Honor's 1 HP, I think you can commit for the kill, get a dash reset, and you'll be fine. Nice. I mean, I see why you do it. I think it's fine because it's equal right now and your Curie dies, so I can see it, right? But I guess the main question becomes, can I get this brig kill without having to use play for it? But I suppose this fight is relatively okay, considering, again, it confirms the brig kill 4v4. I think I'm okay with this play. Okay. Fine. Okay. Look at the deflect here too, by the way. Right? Right? We are deflecting a wall. Right? This is the whole point of visual aggro. Look at who's shooting at you. Look at find the Tracer who just recalled right now and stare at her face and press your deflect button. Because it will mean you won't have to waste the first second of your deflect here at all. So really unfortunate and a missed opportunity there. Ugh, scary. And good walk on micro, really good walk on micro there. Dash is okay. Because again you can play this corner here. Oh, maybe Winston's there, right? Didn't know that, right? But I gotta assume that's something you wouldn't have known in the moment, so I think that's okay. Okay, dashing out is okay. Deflect's okay, then because of the Winston. Okay. So again, slight micro there with the deflect. And maybe that dash into the Mei was a little bit too antsy, because again it relies on the fact that you need to kill the Mei to make it work. Okay. Pulse the break, sure. Okay. And that should be point. It is point. Okay. Now, second point here is kind of a steamroll, but to be honest, I don't even think it was your fault. Well, we can talk about first fight, and then we look at Oasis in a moment here. Alright, but if I zoom out, right. The big mistake your team makes is that your honor gets split, right? Which is mistake number 1, and then your I think angle is fine too. You can force a Mei. I think angle still here is good. I've got no complaints really. Okay. I think moving there is fine. Actually, do I? Hang on. Maybe I spoiled something. Maybe I just become 5,000 IQ, right? I mean now you don't have the running cast here, to be fair, right? So again, I think that's mainly fair point to like account for. I'm thinking like if it's possible for you to actually try and move over here, because if you're over here, this is a really nice angle against the Cassidy because you can threaten Dojo, you can threaten the Winston jump as well. You can still dash back to your honor. So yeah, I mean I say it's reasonable to expect you to make that rotate. I mean you're gonna need to deflect for it probably, right? You're gonna need to deflect for it because of the Cassidy in open space. And then now without deflect, you're here. Is that okay? Well, your Winston deflect against Winston doesn't really matter. Yeah, I think that's fine to deflect here because it doesn't matter against Winston and Mei. Well, you got plenty of distance against Cassidy anyways. I think deflecting here makes more sense, right? And again, you can threaten Dojo, you can threaten the Winston, right? The Winston becomes out in open space, right? Because now the Winston gets pincered from here. You're Curie's on point as well. Here and here, yeah, 4 different angles here at once, which is really nice instead of just 3. And had you done that, right? Had you done that, you can start threatening the trade against the Kirikou. You can start threatening the trade against the Mei. And again, you can dash out, deflect out, right, from here, then walk climb over, and then you should be okay. Slight micro there. Again, I guess I think is that again relates to if there's an event, i.e., I get shots and I need to move. Where do I move to, right? Becomes important. Okay. All right, let's be here. And again, I think if we swap tanks here, right? Maybe if there's like an Orisa this time, and there's a Genji, right, as well. Deflecting it, does that make it a little bit more sense? Is that still fine to do? I still think that's fine to do. I still think if there's an Orisa and a Ramatra or Orion, I still think deflecting it makes sense. Because you can always dash back to your Rana. the key thing. I think knowing that your Ana's here, that you're still safe to dash away is really important. Again, makes that play a little bit more reasonable. But yeah, okay. See here. Okay. 4, 3 feeds. Okay. Like here, again, here, like, you actually deflect the rotate, right? Again, I think it's deflecting the rotate is actually fairly reasonable to do. Because especially against comps that can't punish you, you can dash out anyways if you need to. So yeah, of course, ideally, you want to be able to get to that position without having to use deflect. I think that situation, deflecting there, has to become reasonable. The only way you can actually walk here without deflecting is allowing your diva to walk up here. But there's not geometry-wise, you can't take this angle without having to go all the way across and use the rock here, which is a bit long to do. Okay, jumps onto you, fine. You keep a dash, nice. Yeah, you're still fine, even though you have to use deflect, right? Okay, fine. Just fan it, right? Okay, and again here, I'm like, hey, can we get a little bit deeper, right? Can we start threatening the trade on backline here, maybe? That only is a small thing I would say there. Now we're not doing much, right? There we go. There we go. Nice, right? Great. Really good. It's just a shame it came a bit too late. And again, I think that's why I said earlier that I think it's mainly on your team because this is a great angle. A visual aggro is great here. Your eyes are directly on the casty, who's directly looking at you. Deflect's great, right? Have you got dash? Yeah, you do. Yeah, you can dash away. Jump's good as well. Aggressive but safe. They can't chase you. Yeah, really nice. Pretty good. Again, this is the important thing. Again, aggression does not imply danger. I think this is what people don't get. But uptime, look how long you stay on it for, right? Stay forever. Which is really nice to see. Okay. Forcing a bit there. But yeah, okay, we'll watch Oasis now a little bit. Okay. Because the same themes still apply or still pop up. Okay, let's see. Alright, back up a little bit. Alright, okay. Angle's good. Deflect rotate's fine. You can't get punished for it. You got distance, good cover, great angle. So far, so good. No issues. Okay, punish rotate. No, completely fine. You got cover to use. You can drop down. You can walk climb over. You got micro there to work with. I'm okay with that. Punishing has is fine. Punishing far is okay. Probably a different target there. Yeah, probably the Fair instead, right? So maybe a little bit of tunnel there onto the Far. Let's be real. You're never punishing. Fair though is fine. Yeah, fine with that. No concerns. I can get traded out. Okay, move back a little bit to the left here. Okay, deflect out. So this is where it becomes difficult, right? Because under natural circumstances, what you should be able to do here is hold underneath the Moira. So you would hold here basically, right? But this still becomes tough because Moira can actually beat you in this duel fairly easily, even without having to use without having to waste dash or deflect early. Like she doesn't care about your deflect obviously, which is not great for the duel. I think again if you're a Brig lift this, you would stay here instead of having to give up the angle. And again, it's not like you can dash over here because Far is here obviously. So micro-wise, there really isn't much you can do here apart from just rotate with your Juno and play wide. I'm flipping that basically. That's the only thing you can really do here. Okay. Okay. I think I was gonna say here as well. I think the only thing I can say here as well is play here, right? Or play back here. Play a little bit more distance because you want to bait the hazard to come in instead of having to get your deflect forced out. Because if you're over here, then again that becomes it puts the hazard between a rock and a hard place because he needs to drop, but he also wants to go for you and your Juno. Whereas here you're making it fairly easy for him. So I have a saying for tank players: you don't want bad positioning to force bad cooldowns here. And this is a bad position by putting yourself in open space, which forces a bad deflect, right? So yeah, this becomes preventable. You haven't got the deflect. You don't need to deflect here, and you put yourself in a better position. That becomes a little bit rough, right? You get cleared. Moira comes onto you, right? We rotate out, hypering out. Wall climb's good. Dash is okay. Really good angle here. Yeah, really fantastic angle. Okay. Yeah. So this is like the not blunder, but this is the main thing that we've been talking about this VOD the entire time, is the aggro, right? Is the uptime. If I zoom out here, look how much aggro you are drawing, bro. Look at this, right? 1, 2, 3, soon to be 4 people, and soon to be 5 actually, are trying to clear you out right now. And only realistically, 1 person can clear you out, which is the Farah and maybe the Hazard here, right? This person's too far away. This person can't wall climb up because you can. This person, you can LOS them by just backing off here, right? The point here being is that you've got micro to work with at this position, because you can wall climb up here, maintain this angle, force out the Moira, and then let's say you actually hadn't wasted dash for the kill here. Right, you force fade. Now you dash, you get the kill into the Moira, you get a dash reset, you dash out back here. Like, look how much better that becomes, right? Because your mindset isn't, I want to get the kill, I need to get a kill now, I want to get instant gratification right now. That's not your mindset. Your mindset is, hey, can I force out this Moira? How long can I stay on this angle for? How long, how much, how do I say it? How many resources can I draw out the enemy team before I actually need to leave, right? And that would have been a lot, right? Because the Hazard would need to leap here to come and get you, the Moira would need to come and fade, the Tracer would need to blink, the Farah would need to concast and try and get onto you, right? And you can just leave all of that by finishing off the Moira kill and then dashing back away. Or just dashing back away regardless of the kill. So unfortunate. That small change there makes a big difference. Because again, could have been a free kill on the Moira. Or even the Hazard here, right? Because just by you staying here, naturally, that gives your Ramattra a lot more space to work with, because there's not 5 trillion people looking at him, right? So unfortunate there. Still, I think, again, you playing wireless with the high gun here is really nice, so that's good to see. Pushing a Hazard is good. Okay, but this is not good, right? So, why, on God's green earth, are we leaving this angle? Right, this is them. Look at the Farah's body language. She just moved away, right? Kiri is also off the high ground here too. The Farah does not want any of this smoke, right? Conversely, right, we're still a good ways away from the Hazard here in terms of being one shot. Again, if this Hazard goes onto us, right, there's an opportunity cost, right? Because that allows our Ramattra and my Kiriko to walk forward and start taking space down main if the Hazard decides to go onto you. But instead, you give up your angle here for basically no reason. That you won, by the way. Look at your Tracer. Your Tracer's taking this angle. I don't know why you aren't. Right? Maybe it's because you're half HP here, but still. You can just spam X or whatever the case may be. You can still play for your passive, right? Because no one's going to come for you. There's ways to deal with it, right? But yeah, that's still not an excuse. You to walk back main here. In fact, you're still getting passive healing, funny enough. You were getting passive healing. Now, right, what are we doing? Right? We can't punish backline because we're too far away, and we haven't got a good angle. We're still way closer to Hazard now, which means we're at more danger. Farah is also within our LOS too, which means Farah can spam us out, and we can get forced out really easily. Really a mediocre position to be in. Mori's sucking us off. And look, if this guy has got two micro cells of a brain, he will just destroy you. He'll one-shot you right now off the face of this planet. So, yeah, really confusing, I guess, dichotomy of choices there. Dichotomy is not the right word, I'm just waffling. Really odd choice there. Dash is okay. Right, we can walk around micro that. You've got many as well to play around. I'm okay with that dash engage. Okay. Why are we dashing this? Why are we dashing this? We're doing good up to the beginning here because we can deflect out if we need to. We can wall climb up here. We can get the mini if we want to. We've got micro to work with, right? But why on earth are we dashing in front of a Moira on 70 HP? Like, and then we're deflecting air. We're deflecting nothing. There's no aggro here. Right, so again, this is what I mean, is that you're lacking. You do something well. You get a nice engagement to the Kiriko. You do something well, and then you lose all awareness in the mid-fight. And again, we've seen this over and over again. We saw it first fight, Lijiang. We saw it first fight, Lijiang on multiple points. We saw it third point Lijiang on multiple occasions too. Really odds. And again, you're coin flipping the trait there. You're coin flipping to get a dash reset, right? Because if you get dash reset onto the Moira, then that becomes reasonable in theory. Again, but you can be punished by the Moira there. You can be punished by the Kiri to your right. Is the important thing you're missing out. again, on this character, you should always have the ability to, again, look at the bigger picture. But yeah. Okay, looks like it's working out though. Okay. Dashing away, okay, sure. Alright. Okay, well... Yeah, and I mean, now again, we're just... It's big dogfight, right? But again, you haven't really done much this fight, so to say. I think that's part and due to the lackluster or mediocre mid-fight that you put yourself in. Okay, we'll see here. Yeah, we'll see here. We'll watch one more fight and then we'll do a quick summary. Okay, speed it up. Going left there is fine. One more's left, fine. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so now you're gonna get full style by Genji and the Tracer, right? So, this is again, right, we're just, this is in part due to the fact that we're not aware that we're gonna get forced out here. But it's also in part due to the fact that we're not aware of our escape paths too, right? We're not aware of, like, where we can play. That means that we're not gonna get forced out, right? We're not aware of where we can play. That's still aggressive but safe. And actually, again, if you zoom out here, right? Maybe you should, sure, you didn't know Tracer was here, right? But again, you need to bear in mind about, hey, where can I move to such that I can't be punished by this person and this person and this person. And also, if they do try and punish me, that opens up space for my Tracer and has a down main, right? And the answer to that is, again, over here, right? Or over here, right? Well, again, here you got a pack to play arounds. Here you got a pack to play arounds. You got distance, you got cover. Hazardous too far away to one-shot you. This person's too far away to go onto you. Tracer's, again, this is the only person that can go onto you, but a few shurikens and you'll be fine. And you've got minis to play around, right? So that's the dash position to be in. Not this. And this is way too greedy, right? This is way too kill focus or kill intensive. And again, it's something that a lot of Genji players, or a lot of players in general, will struggle with again. But yeah. Okay, we'll do a quick summary at the end, but I think we know what the key things to work on are. We'll say... we select mid-fights. Mid-fight events. Refocus. Or MER. We'll call it MER. MER. Right? Which just basically means, hey, after I do something, I do an event. Do an event. E.g. Walk wide to force out May Winston, or dash engage, etc. Where are the rest of the enemy team? Right, and again, this is also another way you can think about this again is what I mentioned, the coin flip idea, right? For trades. Actually, I'm gonna make that a separate idea, I think. Yeah, I know, I will. Okay, and then second thing, say it's coin flip for trades, right? Coin flip. Trading. Avoid doing this. And links into one. But also links into hero specific matchups. Matchups. So dash becomes a valuable escape tool versus beams. And walk up target instead, or deflect. Again, I'm not saying to waste deflect for it, right? But again, we did see times where you could have you did actually deflect across open space and you were fine afterwards because again you kept distance by doing that. And then third thing is uptime, angle uptime, I should say. Right? So in other words, when you are on a good angle, when you are actually in a position to where, hey, they need to invest a lot of resources to force me out. Hey, I'm actually in a position to where I'm not coin flip trading. Hey, I'm in a position to where I can threaten trades on backline. When you are on a good angle, right? How long can I stay? Again, the whole purpose of this is down to visual. That's the terrible. That's a terrible writing. Holy shit. Visual. Aggro. And walk climb micro too. Alright, comes the deflect. Look at eyes. And then some wall climb micro. I didn't see too many areas of this, right? It's more so like, again, looking for opportunities to do this. The third point was really evident, I think. So was Oasis as well. After this first point as well, because there's a lot of high gun to use. But again, listen to one. Because if you're able to regain MER, like mid-fight event refocus, like you're able to refocus in the mid-fight about where things are, then naturally you're going to be looking at where you can play. Naturally. And you're going to be thinking about your wall climb micro as well in accordance to that. So all three of these ideas will interconnect and intertwine. They're not, it's not like it's not a reductionist way. I don't want this to be reductionist. I want it to be like a holistic sort of interlinking between all the events. But yeah, those are, I'd say, the top three key things to work on. Of course, any questions, DM me. And yeah, hopefully this was useful to you. Yeah. Right, stop recording. Stop recording!